The great lock in is upon us. With only 4 months left in the year, you suddenly feel a tinge of guilt, maybe even shame. Hopefully, not shame, because the goals you've set from the beginning of the year, you haven't necessarily checked all of them off. So it's time to lock in. You want to discipline your mind and your body to come into alignment with your aspirations. And I want to tell you to lock in. I really want to be able to say, it's time to lock in. But I simply cannot tell you that. There's a version of me that wants to put on war paint and attack my goals with new fervor. But I do not want to encourage you to do something that I know I cannot do myself right now. So instead of baptizing you into the religion of hustle culture or slowly culling you into a life of complacency, you have to find your unique human standard time. Let me explain. Multiple things in our culture and society have accelerated our perception of time. You can receive a message in an instant. You no longer have to wait for that letter in the mail or for your brother to get off the internet so that the dial up modem will allow you to call your best friend. We're more reachable than ever, but yet our goals feel constantly out of reach. Gen AI gives you the most likely next answer. It helps you find answers to problems you just don't want to deal with. You just want a quick solution. I understand that desire to just want to get it over with. But with so much available to us to make life, quote, easier, you would think that would mean more time for rest or even a slower pace. We have to do more. We feel like we have to be more. You can now do more in 24 hours because you now have the same 24 hours as someone who's using ChatGPT or biohacking to super optimize their lives. Don't get me wrong, I too feel that desire to do more, to want more, to be more, to lock in, to prove that I can outwork some metaphorical hater or some competition that I've only ever seen when I feel like I have to discipline myself. When in reality, I'm my only competition. But honestly, I have to counteract that desire for more because it's an external desire that is being formed by our accelerated perception of time. And to be honest with you, I am currently stuck in the present moment. I'm unable to see too far into the future right now. As a staunch and frequent 5-year planner, this is the first time in my life that I've had a complete level of surrender to uncertainty. Academia prospects are shifting. The startup world is ballooning. The world feels like it's currently in a pressure cooker. Planning right now, it's really hard to describe. It feels like trying to stick a beach umbrella in the sand to protect myself from the sun. But then realizing that the sand is actually quicksand. While writing this essay, I actually looked up quicksand and how to escape quicksand. And I learned that the quicker you move, the more you panic, the deeper you sink. The safest way, and actually the quickest way to escape quicksand, is to move slowly. So if you feel like you're being pulled into quicksand right now, maybe that's the encouragement for you right here. In order to escape the quicksand, you have to slow down. Moving too fast may be the demise. You may lose everything, but maybe by slowing down, you actually gain everything you've ever wanted. I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just an encouragement. Just receive it. If it's for you, I hope you catch it. So if I write a memoir in the future, I'd probably call this chapter of my life, Learning How to Enjoy Manna. You see, I have a big plan. I've seen the outlines of the promised land, but I'm not quite there yet. And I'm not sure if I know how to really get there. I'm in a season of my life where I'm learning not to despise small beginnings, not to despise the daily manna in my hand. See, instead of seeing life in units of years like I'm so used to, I now have to wake up every morning and just receive my daily bread. Focus on the fresh bread that's right in front of me, not storing it up for the future and I'm not saying be irresponsible and cash out your 401k. Please do not hear what I'm not saying, but just being super present and not allowing the bread to grow cold. That's why I'm focused on how do I enjoy the manna in my hand right now. Instead of constantly waiting to see the path to the promised land or for the big vision and goals and aspirations I have to come true, how can I bring bits and pieces of the promised land into my current daily rhythms? You see, when you're so focused on the destination and so focused on what's over there and so far ahead, you potentially miss the next step because your eyesight is so far. When in reality, you just need to look down and figure out what's the next right step. And I think for this reason, my appetite is changing. I no longer have a unreasonable desire for more for more's sake. I just need enough to accomplish what I need to do today, enough strength, enough wisdom, enough insight, enough creativity to write today, to produce today, to just be today, if that's what's on the agenda. So, how do you figure out how to live, move, breathe, be in your unique human standard time? Well, I have four invitations or four questions or four themes for you to consider to figure out how to operate on your own timeline. Here they are. Number one, investigate your current rhythms. Who said you have to be up at 5 a.m. to be successful? Are you even a morning person? Stop forcing yourself into a routine that doesn't work for you, your lifestyle, your work rhythms, and where you want to be in the future. What assumptions have you made about how to be a writer, an entrepreneur, an artist, a creative, a student, whatever you may be? What assumptions have gone unquestioned? One of the things I have come to really take seriously when it comes to business and entrepreneurship and writing and being a PhD candidate is just because this is how it's always been done doesn't mean it's the best way for it to be done. For me, my projects, my businesses, whatever I'm doing. And it's always important to investigate the status quo. Certain models and ways of doing things were right for a specific time in history. That doesn't mean it's always going to be right now. And I have to be intentional about interrogating the status quo to see if it actually works for me. So just want to encourage you to think along those lines as well. Number two, detail how your body responds to different environments. I know that when I'm writing my dissertation, I need a quiet, dim space. I love to be in a library around other people writing and studying. When I'm doing more creative work, I love open spaces. I love, especially when I'm envisioning and dreaming, and daydreaming is very important. It should be part of your daily rhythms. I love being in very bright, neutral toned spaces. But it's not just about your physical environment, it's about who you surround yourself with. Do you have people in your life who are nurturing your dreams, or are they just cutting them off at the root because they don't know what it's like to want something bigger than yourself? And sometimes you just have to take the time to see how your body and your mind and your heart responds to different environments and which ones are the most conducive to being and living and doing what you want to do. Number three, identify where this pressure to change is coming from. Do you genuinely have a deep desire to run a marathon by 30? Why does it have to be 30? What happens on the other side of 30 that makes you feel like you have to do the marathon right now? Who said you have to ship products every 2 weeks? Who says that there has to be a new feature for your app or for your startup every single week? Who says that the timing of your startup is even right? There are amazing ideas that just don't hit the market at the right time. And it's not that it wasn't a good idea, it just wasn't the right time. What deadlines are you working on? Are these real deadlines? What are the consequences if you miss the deadlines? Yeah, I just we can relieve the pressure once we know where it's coming from. And I'm not saying all pressure is bad. There's pressure creates diamonds, but in reality, do you even want a diamond? Some people actually should be a sapphire or emerald or some other precious stone. And don't let the diamond standard be the reason that you burn yourself out to the end of the year. That's all I'm saying. Finally, number four, figure out a timeline that works best for the kind of work you're doing. Knowledge work is real work, but I cannot force myself to have the insight and revelation I need immediately to do my creative work, to do my academic work, and to do my professional work. As I said earlier, your environment oftentimes informs your rhythms and the kind of work that you do best. We all want to do deep work. We all want to be relieved from the pressures of doing shallow work. Trust me, I get that. But at the same time, I think we have to be intentional about knowing that we can't force creativity. We can't force ourselves to do things that is just out of alignment in the season in which they should come about. And there's no pressure, there's no shame, there's nothing wrong with that. But just knowing that every day you do create is a good day. And it doesn't have to be a big, oh my gosh, I wrote 20 pages. Like reading is thinking, writing is thinking, even if it's crap, even if it's just jotting down something on a yellow pad or your notebook. Like all of this is good work and you are doing it, and you just have to redefine what work looks like in different seasons. And some seasons, that's reading for 12 hours a day if you're a PhD candidate. In other seasons, it's writing, writing, writing. In other seasons, it's, listening to the experts in your field and understanding the ways in which they present information and the different things that are happening in your market or your domain. Just take time to understand the rhythms of where you're working. And it's so crazy because as I'm building Analog Social, a place and in reality, almost like a think tank where people can enjoy deep work and deep thinking in a very shallow world. And I have to ask myself sometimes, why am I trying to move fast and break things like a deranged unicorn? Like the pace of innovation for a company like Analog Social is going to be radically different than the pace of a unicorn. Because in reality, we're not trying to disappear into the realm of Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and other, mythical things. We want something that is going to have deep roots and is built to last. And that means that, things aren't always going to move as quickly or as fast as I may want it to, because we're trying to figure out our own unique human standard time for operating. So, yeah, I hope that's encouraging to you. So, really, there are no wrong or right answers here. I just want to give you prompts for contemplation about how you want to spend the rest of 2025. So, before you lock yourself into the prison of your mind, which I hope you make it a beautiful place before you lock in. Sometimes it's better to be motivated by a deep love for what you're doing than by pain or shame or other dark feelings. Like, I hope there's love and light in why you want to lock in because love always wins. So, yeah, don't let disciplining yourself out of shame or guilt or I just have to because everyone else is. Don't let that be the primary reason, I should say, for why you want to lock in. So the days are getting shorter and the solutions are becoming even quicker to get. But sometimes to build something that lasts, you have to cement every single brick and build the building from the bottom up instead of 3D printing it. So be encouraged. Every seed that is deeply rooted and watered properly will eventually yield a harvest, even if it's in a season where you weren't even really expecting it. So, yeah, I hope this essay is impactful and it encourages the people that it needs to encourage. And yeah, I'm rooting for you guys and I'm so happy all of you guys are here. And share this message with someone. Comment below how this impacted you. Hopefully, we can just create a new rhythm and way of being in a world that is so fast paced right now. And yeah, I think that's really it. I'm going to go back to writing my dissertation, but stay encouraged.